There's still nothing about the prologue animation, but it looks like we're getting something related to it. This upcoming Tuesday, we're getting the first part of a digital Sonic Frontiers comic called Prologue Convergence, and well, it's exclusive, yes exclusive, to Twitter.com. To Twitter.com. A practical, never-ending forum where posts will inevitably get buried. I don't know about that, Chief. But we'll come back to that later. Let's take a look at the cover for this comic first of all. There's Sonic, Tails, and Amy on board with Tornado, likely headed off to the Starfall Islands because, come on, this is part of the Frontiers Prologue. And Eggman right there, bro, you're kinda scaring me right now. What's up with the eyes? Like, bruh. And, from the fact that he's got the small cubic effects around his arms, it looks like he's disintegrating into cyberspace. Or he's teleporting like in Zelda Twilight Princess, cause that was the first thing I thought of. Nah, but seriously, we know that Eggman starts off his role in the story by getting trapped in cyberspace. More than likely, this comic will connect the dots and show us exactly how that happens. I'm looking forward to reading about that. The prequel comic is not going to replace the animation, we are getting both. The more the merrier, as Eggman would say. As far as I know, this is like the first time in a long time that they've acknowledged the Sonic Frontiers Prologue animation since they first teased it. Ever since then, their focus has been on the game, which it should be because it's their next upcoming product. But many of us have wondered about the status of the animation, but at least we now know that it's still a go. And it should be coming out soon because the game is now less than a month away from releasing. And yeah, you can see traces of IDW's influence all over this cover art. Eggman's kinda scaring me though, but I think that was the idea. It's also a little odd though, considering he's going to end up a prisoner later on, you know, in cyberspace, but either way, this cover art is gripping. But back to what I was saying a bit ago about this comic being exclusive to Twitter. Why? Why, I gotta ask, why? And if you're skeptical about that, well, it's right there in the announcement itself. It will be released on Twitter. If it's going to be released on other platforms, well, they didn't exactly say. And on a platform where stuff will inevitably get buried by other posts, why make it a Twitter exclusive? That just doesn't make any sense to me. In fact, my fellow Sonic tuber Xpool had a lot to say on the subject also. He pointed out that Sonic Forces did the exact same thing 5 years ago. They had a Twitter web comic and all. And here's the thing. I didn't know about this, or I did know about it but somehow forgot. And I had been following the Sonic social media since before I joined the community. It's how I knew about Sonic Mania, and I also gotten Forces day one, bonus content and all. I don't have the controller skin anymore though, and despite the game being underwhelming obviously, I really like that controller skin, come on man. But, oh well. Point is, it's very telling if Forces had a webcomic on Twitter and it's no longer in my memory. Like, I literally can't recall any parts of it if I ever read it at all. I don't even remember if I read it. And when it's exclusive to a platform where stuff will get buried out of sight, yeah, that's kind of the risk that you're running. And before anybody assume that I don't already know, yeah, you can bookmark Twitter posts just like you would web pages, and you could even save the comics themselves to your computer so you can read them later on. Come on, I've been using the internet for years. There's no way I wouldn't know either of those things. It's certainly a solution, but for things like, you know, outreach and preservation and such, I just think that a little bit more could be done. So why not release it on other platforms that feature digital comics? Like, didn't they do this with IDW Comics? I don't often consume comics digitally, but I know it's rapidly becoming the way to go for marketing products like this nowadays. And don't get me wrong, I'm excited with the comic and the animation. I just don't want either of those things to be forgotten about after they're released, you know? And I believe it's been clarified that the prologue animation will explain things that won't be explained in the game itself. For example, how Knuckles ends up at the Starfall Islands. So I imagine the comic itself will have similar plot details that also won't really be addressed in the game, but will still be crucial to know for those that are really invested in the lore. This makes it even less of a good idea to make it a Twitter exclusive. You get what I mean? But then again, you're talking to the same guy that didn't even know the soap shoes in Sonic Adventure 2 were actually a custom item in Sonic Forces. So maybe it's my own fault for forgetting about the Forces comic in the first place. But then again, I'm not the only one thinking that it's not a good idea to make the Frontiers comic a Twitter exclusive, so take that however you will. At least the Sonic Frontiers animation will likely not face the same issue, because I'd assume that it would be going up on the Sonic YouTube channel, just like the rest of animated shorts have. You know, Sonic Mania Adventures, Team Sonic Racing Overdrive, and Sonic Colors Rise of the Wisps. Sure, content gets buried on YouTube too, but the Sonic channel has a significant presence on YouTube, and to this day people are still going back and watching the animated shorts for Sonic Mania. Heck, you guys probably didn't know this, but you can literally boot up Sonic Origins right now and watch Sonic Mania Adventures in the museum. You can also watch their work in progress sequences. Twitter, on the other hand, doesn't strike me as a platform that would be just as reliable for something like that, whether it's for comics or videos. Well, you get the idea. So you can likely see why I would be concerned about this. But maybe I'm just worried over nothing. Maybe the Frontiers comic will perform just fine as a Twitter exclusive, but considering I have no recollection of the Forces comic, yeah man, I don't know. What do you think? Also, this might be me stating the painfully obvious, but between the animation and the comic, specific cast members will probably get their time to shine more than the rest. For the animation teaser, we've only seen Knuckles, Angel Island, and the Master Emerald. And the second and third things have been notably absent from the storyline for any 3D mainline Sonic game for like years. So the fact that both made their return, even if only for an animation related to a game, has been a pretty significant topic of conversation for Sonic fans. As such, I think Knuckles will get more attention than the rest in the animation. I'm sure it will share the same cast as that of the comic, like for example, Sonic will definitely pop up during the animation, and Knuckles will probably get some screen time in the comics too. Like come on, this is such a tease. Angel Island likely isn't in the game itself, but for it to show up like this, come on guys, you're just yanking our chains at this point. It's for a similar reason that I'm excited for the Frontiers comic to come out. It'll give us a chance to dive deeper into some character backstories, if that is their intention, before we actually get right to the events of the game itself. And I didn't expect to see more than one piece of prologue related content, honestly, but this is a pleasant surprise, and I sure have no complaints, apart from the comic being a Twitter exclusive, but we already talked about that. So, those are my thoughts. How excited are you for the Sonic Frontiers Prologue comic to release next week? Let me know in the comments below. And yeah, I know about that new combat trailer. I haven't covered it yet because I had to release an interview at that time, but don't worry, we're gonna talk about it. That's for another video though. Until then, if you guys enjoyed this video, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to drop a like too, that really helps. And feel free to sub and ring that bell for more Sonic news content. Peace! Take care. And don't forget, blue blurs for life.